You are not lost. You are not unlucky. You are simply undecided, and an undecided mind is a magnet for mediocrity. But in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you why everything you have is exactly what you've earned, and why everything you want is waiting for you to become worthy of it. Good evening. I want to talk with you tonight about something that may disturb you at first, but I promise you, if you'll stay with me, it will set you free. Here it is. Everything you have in your life right now you have earned. Now, before you object, let me be clear. I'm not talking about the accidents of birth, the color of your skin, or the country you were born in. I'm talking about the results you're experiencing in your work, your relationships, your health, and your peace of mind. These are not accidents. These are not gifts. And they are certainly not the work of luck. You see, most people go through life waiting for their break, waiting for someone to notice them, waiting for luck to smile on them. But luck is nothing more than the nickname we give to the law of cause and effect when we don't understand what's really happening. That's not a pleasant idea, is it? Because it means we're responsible. It means that if we don't like what we see in the mirror of our lives, we have no one to blame but ourselves. But it also means something magnificent. If we can change our thinking, we can change our lives. The power of a definite chief aim. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a definite chief aim? Do you have one burning, all-consuming goal that rules your days, that commands your attention the way a general commands an army? Most people don't. They drift. They float from one thing to another, reacting to life instead of creating it. And then they wonder why life feels empty, why success eludes them, why opportunity passes them by. Here's what I've learned, that the person without a definite purpose is at the mercy of every wind that blows. They are like a ship without a rudder, blown about by circumstances, driven by moods, tossed by opinions. But the person who has chosen one definite goal and subordinated everything else to that goal becomes a force of nature. They have activated something within themselves, something that draws opportunity, that magnetizes people and circumstances to them. Your definite chief aim must be written. It must be clear, and it must be reviewed every single day, not because you'll forget it, but because your subconscious mind needs a commander. It needs orders. And when you give it those orders with clarity and repetition, it goes to work silently, powerfully, inevitably. Faith, the force that commands your mind. Now, I want to tell you something about faith that you may not have heard before. Faith is not wishful thinking. It's not hoping things will work out. Faith is a state of mind, a state of absolute conviction that you can develop, strengthen, and direct. When you hold an idea in your mind with faith, with expectation, with emotional intensity, you are giving a command to your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind does not argue. It does not question. It simply accepts what you give it and sets about making it real. This is why two people can have the same opportunity, the same resources, the same starting point, and one will succeed while the other fails. The difference is faith. One believes it can be done. The other believes it cannot. And both are right. Faith is built through repetition, through affirmation, through surrounding yourself with evidence of what is possible. It is not a gift given to the lucky few. It is a discipline available to anyone willing to guard their mind. The weapon of decision. Let me tell you something about decision that will change your life, if you let it. Decision is the end of procrastination. Most people think they've made a decision when they've only expressed a preference. They say, I'd like to lose weight, or I want to start a business, or I should get organized. But that's not a decision, that's a wish. A true decision is irrevocable. It is final. It is the moment you burn the bridges behind you and commit yourself fully, completely, without reservation, to a course of action. Do you know what happens when you truly decide? The universe responds, doors open, people appear, resources become available, not because of magic, but because you have activated within yourself a power that was always there, waiting for your command. Procrastination is not laziness. It is the refuge of the undecided mind. And the cure is simple: decide. Decide what you want. Decide when you'll begin. Decide that nothing will stop you. And then act on that decision as if your life depends on it, because it does. Organized planning, the bridge to achievement. Here's a harsh truth: dreamers are everywhere, but achievers are rare. What separates them? Organized planning. You can have the greatest goal in the world, the most inspiring vision, the deepest faith, but without a plan, you have nothing but a fantasy. Organized planning means breaking down your goal into specific, measurable steps. It means knowing what you're going to do today, this week, this month. It means building habits, systems, and routines that move you forward whether you feel like it or not. Most people fail not because their goals are too big, but because their plans are too vague. They don't fail from lack of desire. They fail from lack of direction. So sit down. Write out your plan. Make it detailed. Make it practical. And then follow it with the discipline of a craftsman. Because success is not an event, it is a process. And the process is built on organized, intelligent, persistent effort. Persistence the final test. Now we come to the quality that separates the victorious from the defeated. Persistence. Not talent. Not intelligence. Not luck. Persistence. I've watched men and women of average ability rise to extraordinary heights, and I've watched men and women of great talent sink into obscurity. And the difference, every single time, was persistence. Persistence is your willingness to continue when others quit. It is your refusal to accept temporary defeat as permanent failure. It is your faith made visible. Here's what you need to understand. Every great achievement requires a gestation period, a time when nothing seems to be happening, a time when doubt creeps in and the voices around you and the voice within you whisper, "Give up. It's not worth it. You're fooling yourself." That is the test. And the ones who pass it are the ones who inherit the rewards. Most people give up just when they're about to achieve success. They quit on the 1-yard line. They give up at the last minute of the game, 1 foot from a winning touchdown. Don't let that be you, the silent enemy drifting. Finally, I want to warn you about the most dangerous enemy you will ever face. It's not failure. It's not hardship. It's not criticism or rejection. It's drifting. Drifting is the habit of going through life without purpose, without plan, without decision. It is the slow, silent surrender to circumstances. It is the acceptance of whatever comes your way instead of the deliberate creation of what you desire. Drifters are everywhere. You see them every day. They work jobs they don't care about. They live in homes that don't inspire them. They fill their hours with distractions because they have no compelling reason to focus. And the tragedy is this drifting is a choice. It may not feel like a choice, but it is. Every day you wake up without a definite purpose, you are choosing to drift. Every day you avoid decisions, you are choosing to drift. Every day you let others think for you, you are choosing to drift. But you can stop. Right now. Today. You can decide to become a person of purpose. You can decide to take control of your thoughts, your plans, your actions. You can decide to stop drifting and start living. Success is never an accident, the predictable result of definite purpose and consistent action. Let me tell you something that's going to make you uncomfortable. You look around at successful people, the ones with thriving businesses, the ones with financial freedom, the ones who seem to have it all figured out, and you think they got lucky. You think they were in the right place at the right time. You think they knew somebody, or inherited something, or caught a break that you haven't caught yet. And because you believe that, you wait. You wait for your turn. You wait for your moment. You wait for the universe to tap you on the shoulder and say, "Okay, now it's your time. But here's what I need you to understand. That moment isn't coming. That lucky break you're waiting for. It doesn't exist. Not in the way you think it does." Now, stay with me here, because this is where it gets interesting. Success operates according to laws just like gravity, just like electricity, just like every other natural force in the universe. These laws are impersonal. They work for everyone equally. They don't care about your background, your education, or your connections. They respond only to one thing: what you do. When you see someone succeed, you're witnessing the harvest. But what you didn't see was the planting. You didn't see the months, maybe years of consistent effort. You didn't see the early mornings, the late nights, the failures they learned from, the persistence when nothing seemed to be working. What looks like luck to you is actually the predictable result of someone who decided what they wanted, made a plan, and worked that plan day after day after day, whether they felt like it or not, whether anyone was watching or not, whether results were immediate or not. Think about it this way. If you plant corn, you get corn. You don't get wheat. You don't get tomatoes. You get exactly what you planted. That's not luck. That's law. The same principle applies to your life. If you plant definite purpose, clear, written goals that you review every day, you will harvest results. If you plant consistent action, daily disciplines that move you toward your goal, you will harvest achievement. If you plant persistence, the refusal to quit when obstacles appear, you will harvest success. But if you plant nothing, if you drift through your days reacting to whatever comes your way, hoping something good will happen, then you'll harvest exactly that nothing. Or worse, you'll harvest whatever circumstances decide to give you. Here's the beautiful part, though. Here's the part that should fill you with hope. You are in control right now, today. This very moment. You don't need permission. You don't need connections. You don't need luck. What you need is a definite purpose and the discipline to pursue it with consistent action. When you wake up tomorrow morning, you have a choice. You can continue drifting, waiting for luck to find you, or you can become a person of purpose, someone who knows where they're going and takes deliberate steps to get there. The moment you make that shift, everything changes. Not because the world changes, but because you do. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become a creator of results. You stop hoping and start expecting. You stop wishing and start working. And 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, when people look at your success and say, "You're so lucky," you'll smile. Because you'll know the truth. You'll know that luck had nothing to do with it. You earned it. You built it. You made it happen through definite purpose and consistent action. That's not luck. That's law. And the law works for anyone willing to work with it. Your dominant thoughts become your destiny. Faith is the force that turns mental blueprints into physical reality. I want you to stop for a moment and think about what you've been thinking about. I know that sounds odd, but bear with me. What occupies your mind most of the day? What thoughts do you return to again and again? What mental movies do you play when you're driving, when you're falling asleep, when you're alone with yourself? Because here's the uncomfortable truth: those thoughts, the ones you're allowing to dominate your mind right now, are building your future. Not someday. Not eventually. Right now. This very moment. And if those thoughts are filled with doubt, with worry, with images of failure or fear, then that's exactly what you're constructing. You're literally using the most powerful force in the universe to create the very thing you don't want. Let that sink in for just a moment. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, "But I can't help what comes into my mind. I can't control my thoughts." And I understand why you'd think that. Most people do. They believe their mind is like a radio that picks up whatever signal happens to be broadcasting. But that's not how it works. Your mind is not a passive receiver. It's a broadcasting station. And you, whether you realize it or not, you are the one choosing the frequency. Every thought you accept, every mental image you dwell on, every belief you hold as true is sending out a signal. And that signal is being picked up by your subconscious mind, that vast, powerful part of you that never sleeps, never questions, never argues. It simply accepts what you give it and goes to work making it real. This is what faith really is. It's not religious belief. It's not hoping things will work out. Faith is the absolute conviction that what you hold in your mind with feeling, with repetition, with emotional intensity, must eventually materialize in your physical world. Think about the person who worries constantly about money. They think about bills. They think about debt. They imagine themselves struggling, failing, falling short. And what happens? They attract more of exactly that. Not because the universe is punishing them, but because their faith, their dominant thoughts, are focused on lack, and the law responds to what you give it. Now contrast that with someone who holds a clear mental picture of abundance. They see themselves succeeding. They imagine opportunities coming their way. They expect good things. They maintain that mental image even when their bank account says otherwise, even when circumstances seem to contradict it. What happens to them? Opportunities appear. Ideas come. Doors open. Same law. Different results. Because different thoughts. Here's what changed everything for me, and I believe it will change everything for you. You can choose your thoughts. You can guard your mind like a fortress. You can refuse entry to negative, destructive, fear-based thinking. You can deliberately plant thoughts of success, of abundance, of achievement, and water them daily with faith. It requires discipline, yes. It requires vigilance. You have to catch yourself when you slip into worry or doubt. You have to redirect your mind, again and again, toward what you want instead of what you fear. But when you do this, when you take control of your dominant thoughts and hold them with faith, something remarkable happens. Your subconscious mind accepts these thoughts as commands and begins to orchestrate circumstances, guide your actions, and attract the people and resources you need. You don't have to know how it works. You just have to know that it does. And then you have to use it deliberately, purposefully, consistently. So starting today, guard your mind. Feed it only thoughts worthy of your goals. Hold your mental blueprint with absolute faith, and watch as the invisible force within you transforms those thoughts into your physical reality. That's not mysticism. That's law, and it's available to you right now. The decision is the end of procrastination. The executioner of doubt. Let me ask you something direct. How long have you been thinking about that thing you want to do, that business you want to start, that book you want to write, that career change you want to make, that conversation you need to have? A month, a year, 5 years, and every day you tell yourself you're going to do it. Tomorrow, next week, when the time is right, when you have more money, when you have more information, when you feel ready. But the truth, and you know this deep down, is that tomorrow never comes. The time is never right. You're never going to feel ready. Because what you're calling preparation is actually something else entirely. It's hesitation. It's the comfortable prison of the undecided mind, and the cost of that indecision is devastating. It's not just the dream deferred. It's the slow erosion of your self-respect. Every day you don't decide is another day you prove to yourself that you're not serious, that you're not worthy, that you're not the kind of person who follows through. Think about that for just a moment. Now, here's what most people don't understand about decision. They think decision is about choosing between options. Should I do this or that? Should I go left or right? But that's not decision. That's deliberation. That's comparison. That's analysis. Real decision is something entirely different. The word itself tells you what it means. Decision comes from the Latin word meaning to cut off. When you truly decide, you cut off all other possibilities. You eliminate the escape routes. You close the back doors. You commit yourself fully to one course of action, and everything else becomes irrelevant. Think about the great figures of history, the ones who accomplished extraordinary things. What separated them from everyone else wasn't talent or intelligence or resources. It was the moment they decided. Lincoln decided to preserve the Union. Edison decided to create the electric light. The Wright brothers decided man would fly. And from that moment of decision forward, every obstacle became a problem to solve, not a reason to quit. You see, procrastination isn't a character flaw. It's not laziness. It's the natural state of the undecided mind. When you haven't truly decided, your mind keeps searching for better options, safer paths, easier ways. It stays in perpetual deliberation mode. And while you're deliberating, life is passing you by. But the moment you decide, truly decide, something shifts inside you. Suddenly you're no longer wondering if you should do it. You're figuring out how. You're no longer asking whether it's possible. You're making it possible. Your energy changes. Your focus sharpens. Opportunities that were always there suddenly become visible. People who can help you appear. Resources you didn't know existed become available. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Here's the liberating truth I want you to grasp. You already know what you need to decide. You've known it for a long time. The information you're waiting for? You don't need it. The permission you're seeking? You don't need it. The perfect moment? It doesn't exist. What you need is to stop negotiating with yourself and make a final, irrevocable decision. Decide what you want. Decide when you'll start, and I suggest you start today, this very hour. Decide that nothing will deter you, that obstacles are simply part of the path, that temporary setbacks are not permanent failures. And then act on that decision immediately. Take the first step right now, no matter how small. Because action cements decision. It transforms intention into reality. When you do this, you'll notice something remarkable. The procrastination that plagued you for months or years simply vanishes. Not because you suddenly became disciplined, but because you finally decided. And decision makes all the difference. So stop waiting. Stop preparing. Stop looking for the perfect moment. Decide now, today, and let your decision carry you forward into the life you've been postponing. Organized planning separates dreamers from achievers. The bridge between dreams and achievement. You have a goal. I know you do. Maybe you've written it down. Maybe you think about it often. Maybe you've even told people about it, and they've encouraged you. Told you it's a wonderful idea, said they believe in you. But here's the question that matters. What did you do yesterday to move toward that goal? What specific action did you take? What measurable progress did you make? If you're honest with yourself, the answer is probably nothing, or close to nothing. And the day before that, the same. And the week before that, more of the same. And now you're starting to wonder if you're really serious about this goal at all. You're starting to doubt whether you have what it takes. You're beginning to think that maybe you're just one of those people who dreams but never does. Let me stop you right there. The problem isn't your dream. The problem isn't your desire. The problem isn't even your commitment. The problem is that you don't have a plan. Now think about this for just a moment. You see, we live in a world of dreamers. Everywhere you turn, people have goals. They want to start businesses, write books, get in shape, achieve financial independence, make a difference. The desire is universal. The dreams are abundant. But dreams without plans are fantasies. They're pleasant thoughts that make you feel good for a moment, but they evaporate the instant real life demands your attention. And then you wonder why nothing ever changes, why you're still in the same place year after year. Here's what separates the achievers from the dreamers: organized planning. Not vague intentions. Not general ideas. I'll work on it when I have time. Organized planning. Specific, written, detailed. With timelines, milestones, and daily actions. Think about building a house. You don't just show up with lumber and nails and start hammering. You have blueprints. You know exactly what goes where. You know what happens first, second, third. You have a sequence, a system, a plan. Your goal requires the same approach. When you break your goal down into concrete steps, when you know exactly what you need to do today, this week, this month, something profound happens. The goal stops being this enormous, overwhelming thing looming in the distance. It becomes a series of manageable tasks, and manageable tasks get done. Here's another thing that happens. You stop relying on motivation. Motivation is wonderful when it's there, but it's unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. But organized planning creates structure, and structure doesn't require motivation. It just requires execution. The person with a plan knows what to do when they wake up. They don't waste energy wondering, debating, deciding. They simply consult their plan and take the next step, day after day after day, and those steps accumulate, they compound, they build momentum. Meanwhile, the dreamer without a plan wakes up full of good intentions but no direction. They spend their day reacting to whatever comes their way, and by evening they're exhausted but haven't moved an inch toward their goal. Here's the truth that will set you free. You don't need more desire. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more inspiration. What you need is a plan, a clear, organized, written plan that tells you exactly what to do and when to do it. Sit down today, right now if possible, and create that plan. Break your goal into phases. Break those phases into steps. Break those steps into daily actions. Make it so clear that a stranger could pick it up and know exactly what you're working toward and how you're getting there. And then follow that plan with the discipline of a professional. Not perfectly. You'll make mistakes, you'll need to adjust. That's fine. The plan isn't a prison. It's a guide. But having it transforms you from a dreamer into an achiever. Because achievers aren't people with bigger dreams. They're people with better plans. And better plans lead to better results. It's that simple. So stop dreaming and start planning. The bridge between where you are and where you want to be isn't luck or talent. It's organized planning. And it's available to you right now. Persistence is the final test of worthiness, the willingness to remain faithful to your purpose. You've started things before, haven't you? New projects, new habits, new commitments. You began with enthusiasm, with energy, with absolute certainty that this time would be different. And for a while it was. You made progress. You felt good about yourself. People noticed. Things were moving in the right direction. But then something happened. The initial excitement wore off. The work got harder. Results came slower. Obstacles appeared that you hadn't anticipated. And one day, without even realizing it, you stopped. You told yourself it was temporary, just a break, but deep down you knew the truth. You'd quit. Again. And now, when you think about starting something new, there's a voice in the back of your mind that whispers, "Why bother? You know how this ends. You always quit. You're not the kind of person who finishes things." That voice is destroying you. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly, slowly. One abandoned goal at a time. Just sit with that for a moment. Now, let me tell you something that might change the way you see everything. Persistence is not a personality trait. It's not something you're born with. It's not a gift given to the lucky few while the rest of us were passed over. Persistence is a decision, a choice, a commitment you make to yourself not once but every single day, sometimes every single hour, to continue when everything in you wants to stop. The people you admire, the ones who built something significant, the ones whose names you know, because they actually finished what they started, do you think it was easy for them? Do you think they never doubted? Do you think they never felt like quitting? They felt all of it, the doubt, the fatigue, the discouragement, the temptation to walk away. But here's what they understood that most people don't. Those feelings are part of the process. They're not signs that you should quit. They're signs that you're getting close. Think about it this way. Every worthwhile goal has what I call a testing period, a point where the excitement has faded, where the work is hard, where results are invisible, where quitting would be so easy and no one would blame you. That testing period is not an accident. It's a filter. It's life's way of asking you one question. How badly do you want this? Most people fail this test. They interpret difficulty as a sign they're on the wrong path. They see temporary defeat as permanent failure. They mistake a pause in progress for proof that progress is impossible. But the person who persists understands something crucial. Success is not a straight line. There are plateaus. There are setbacks. There are moments when nothing seems to be working. And those moments are precisely when you're building the strength, the wisdom, the character required to handle the success that's coming. Every person who quit did so just before the breakthrough. Every abandoned dream was closer to reality than the dreamer realized. The gold was 3 feet away, but they stopped digging. Here's what you need to understand, really understand deep in your bones. You don't fail when you make mistakes. You don't fail when progress is slow. You don't fail when obstacles appear. You only fail when you quit. That's the only way to fail. Everything else is just part of the journey. And here's the beautiful part. You can choose right now to be someone who persists. Not someone who never struggles. Everyone struggles. But someone who refuses to let struggle be the end of the story. The goal you abandoned last month. You can return to it. The habit you let slip, you can rebuild it. The dream you gave up on? It's still there, still possible, still waiting for you to prove you're worthy of it. Worthiness isn't proven by talent or intelligence or resources. It's proven by persistence. By your willingness to keep going when going is hard. By your refusal to let temporary circumstances dictate permanent results. So decide right now that you will persist. That you will see this through. That you will not quit before the miracle happens. Because it's coming. And persistence is the only way to be there when it arrives. So here's what I want you to do, not tomorrow, not next week, but today. First, write down your definite chief aim. Make it specific. Make it clear. Make it something that excites you and frightens you at the same time. Second, truly decide that you are going to achieve it. Burn the bridges. Commit yourself. Let there be no retreat, no excuses, no escape. Third, make a plan. Write down the steps. Organize your time. Build the systems that will carry you forward. Fourth, begin. Take the first step today. Not a big step, just the first step. And fifth, persist. When doubt comes, persist. When obstacles arise, persist. When others quit, persist. Because persistence is the one quality that guarantees success to anyone willing to pay the price. You are not the victim of circumstance. You are the creator of your life. And the life you want is not waiting for you somewhere out there. It's waiting for you to become the person worthy of it. So go now. Begin. And remember, success is not something that happens to you. It is something that happens through you when you align your thoughts, your decisions, your plans, and your persistence with a definite purpose. That's the truth. That's the whole truth. And if you'll accept it and act on it, your life will never be the same. Good night and good luck.